Welcome back. Today we have a word that might surprise you a little bit, a couple of events, a birthday, a song, and a quote. So grab your favorite cuppa, settle in, and let's have a look. Hi there, and welcome to This Day in History for August 28th. August 28th is the 240th day of the year in the Gregorian calendar, 241st in leap years, with 125 days remaining to the end of the year. Today's word is tabby. Tabby's a noun with a surprising lot of meanings. I think the one most of us will be aware of is that tabby is a domestic cat with a striped or brindled coat. A tabby may also mean a domestic cat, especially a female one, or a spinster or a spiteful, gossipy woman. Tabby can mean a fabric of plain weave or watered silk fabric, or it can mean a building material made of lime, oyster shells, and gravel. The etymology of this word for some of these meanings comes from French, medieval Latin before that, and ultimately from an Arabic word that was the name of a town where silk was made. Cats got the name tabby after the similarity of their coats to the cloth, and the derivation of words for females is probably from a shortening of the name Tabitha. The origin of the word tabby that refers to the building material most likely comes from a Spanish word that means wall. Tabby. And with that, German-born British astronomer and composer William Herschel discovered a new moon of Saturn on August 28, 1789. This moon is called Enceladus, named after a giant from Greek mythology by that name. Enceladus is the sixth largest moon of Saturn and the 18th largest in the solar system. As of recently, there are 274 Saturnian moons with confirmed orbits, the most of any planet in the solar system. Saturn's moons vary in size from larger than planet Mercury to little moonlets, only a few meters across. On August 28, 1859, there began the strongest geomagnetic storm on record to strike the Earth. Caused by a coronal mass ejection from the Sun, this storm is known as the Carrington Event, after Richard Carrington, one of the astronomers who observed and recorded it. The resulting geomagnetic storm created strong auroral displays much farther from the poles than one might ever see them ordinarily, nearly to the equator. Also caused anomalous behavior of and serious damage to telegraph systems. For example, the line connections sparked and caught fire, and in some cases, telegraph operators received electric shocks. Some telegraph operators could even continue to send and receive messages even though they had disconnected their power supplies. We almost got zinged with a similar event in 2012 when there was a coronal mass ejection every bit as strong as the Carrington event, but the aim wasn't as direct. It did hit a satellite, but the satellite was far enough away from the Earth as to not be affected by Earth's magnetosphere, and it survived the event, gave scientists a good bit of information along the way. Now, should a solar flare issue a coronal mass ejection the strength of the Carrington event again, and it might, and should that CME be pointed straight at Earth when it flares, anything is possible. It could wipe out electronics and communications and possibly disrupt power supply over most of the Earth. Anything having to do with lines that run through the air and the transformers would be subject to interference from a coronal mass ejection of that magnitude. So let's hope such a thing doesn't happen again anytime soon. This is the birthday of Margaret LeAnn Rimes, born August 28, 1982 in Jackson, Mississippi. We know her better simply as singer, songwriter, and actress LeAnn Rimes. She began singing at the age of 2, and her family moved to Garland, Texas when she was 6. She attended dance and vocal classes, performed in local talent shows and productions, and on the network television show Star Search. Her professional breakthrough came at age 13 with the release of her single, Blue, in 1996, was an instant country hit that earned her Grammy recognition and propelled her into the spotlight. She followed with How Do I Live in 1997, a massive crossover pop success that remains one of the longest charting singles of the 90s. Over the course of her career, Ms. Rimes has placed over 40 singles on international charts, has sold more than 48 million records globally, and has released 17 studio albums, showcasing her evolution across country, pop, contemporary Christian, and adult contemporary genre. Happy birthday, LeAnn Rimes. When I saw LeAnn Rimes' name on the birthday list, the song How Do I Live came to mind. Written by Diane Warren in 1997 specifically for the 1997 movie Con Air, How Do I Live was originally recorded by LeAnn Rimes when she was only 14 years old. Movie executives felt that Miss Rimes' rendition was too pop-sounding for this movie and went with a more sultry version by Trisha Yearwood. But Miss Rimes' version still became a massive crossover success, soaring on to number 2 on the U.S. Billboard Hot 100, where it stayed for 5 non-consecutive weeks, and set a record by remaining on the chart for over a year. And even though it never hit number 1 in the weekly charts, How Do I Live was named the number 1 song of the 1990s in Billboard's Decade End Summary and remains one of the top 10 singles on Billboard's all-time Hot 100 list. It's certified quadruple platinum in the U.S., which means it's sold over 4 million copies. How Do I Live by LeAnn Rimes, link in the description. And I've also included a link to Trisha Yearwood's version if you'd like to compare them. Did we get it all? You think we did? I think so. How about that? Sometimes I specifically look for quotes directly related to the events or people that I've talked about in the video, and sometimes I'll just open up my file of collected quotes. Today I went with option 2 and found one that just happens to be related to some of the things we talked about. And it is, to confine our attention to terrestrial matters would be to limit the human spirit. Stephen Hawking. All righty, y'all, take care. Be good to each other. I'll see you next time. Wonder if I could make that smaller. Nope. Nope, it does not want to be smaller. All right. Hi there, and welcome to This Day in History for... There we go. And with that, German-born... And I think that's going to do it for us today. Thank you so much for watching. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. Feel free to share this video with a link in your email, messaging, or social media. If you enjoy this series, you can check out the playlists in the description. You can find me on BitChute, Facebook, Odyssey, Rumble, YouTube, and X, as well as on a blog page called No Really. No Really. No Really. Consider following my Day in History page on Facebook if you're on Facebook. I also have a Patreon account now, or you can buy me a coffee. All those links are in the description. Alrighty, that's all I can think of right now. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.